Hello, my name is Aviva, and today I wanted to share with you my Black Friday book haul that actually happened before Black Friday. So first of all, a lot of the books that I buy in general never really go on sale for Black Friday or any sale in general because they're mostly indie books, and I feel like I just never see indie books on an actual sale unless the specific book is having like a price drop for some reason. So the majority of these books I did pay full price for, even though I could have waited to Black Friday to see if I might have gotten lucky or something like that. I just didn't have the patience for that. And then on top of that, a handful of the books that I had gotten, I actually got from Target when they were having some of those buy two, get one free sort of sales, because throughout this entire past month, they've been doing like Black Friday deals coming early. And I kind of just like jumped on the bandwagon when one of those like book sales were going on. So didn't even have to wait to Black Friday to get all of these books, but I'm considering them my Black Friday book haul because I don't really plan to get any more books on Black Friday unless for some odd reason, every indie book in the world decides to go on sale that day. So with that said, I also just wanted to say a little quick thing that I am filming this video a couple of days ahead of time. So if you do follow me on Instagram, you might have already seen that I have read some of these books, even though in this video, I might be saying that I have not read them because it is currently Friday. This video ain't going up until Monday, and I do plan to read all weekend, and I plan to read some of these books. So I might have posted my review for some of them already by the time this video goes up. But with that said, let's get into the actual books that I have recently gotten. I was almost about to say that I've recently read. So first up, I actually have a book that I did already read, except I haven't shared it with you guys here on YouTube yet. I have talked about it on my Instagram and on my TikTok, and I already did post my review for it on GOODREADS. But either way, that book is Play With Me by Becca Mack. So this is the second book in her Playing for Keeps companion series. It's kind of like a professional hockey romance sort of thing where you're following a bunch of different hockey players as they each get their own romance. The first book was Consider Me, and I absolutely loved it. That was like an I was a player until I met you sort of story. And then this one was a forbidden brother's best friend sort of romance where you're following the little sister of the guy from book one and then his best friends as they get their romance. So I'm not really going to talk about what I thought about this book. I will have my GOODREADS review for it linked down below in case you were interested in my thoughts, but I just want to quickly say that I was recently sent this book. I'm so grateful to have been sent it by the author herself, so I really do appreciate it, and I just wanted to share it with you guys that I did recently add it to my library, and I have already read it. So I actually have one more book that I've already read, but I did recently receive it as well. I just like received it and then read it right away, so I didn't have a chance to share it with you before I read it. But either way, that book is Mine Would Be You by Kay Jamila. So I actually talked about this in my two most recent videos. I had first read this in the reading vlog that I had posted, I think like last week or so. It was like spend the week with me sort of thing, and this was the second book that I had read. So I went into great detail there, and then right after that, I made a romance recommendation video with books that take place in New York City, and this was the first book that I had chatted about in that video. So I will just have those two videos linked down below, and I won't repeat myself here, but in case you're not familiar with this book, you're basically following this girl who ends up having a romance with her ex-boyfriend's best friend, and that's more or less the gist of the story, but there's a lot more that happens in it. But either way, won't go into detail here. I just wanted to tell you that I did recently add this book to my library, just in case you haven't seen my last two videos that I had posted. Next, I wanted to share with you the book that I'm actually currently in middle of reading at the time that I'm filming this video, and that is Always Only You by Chloe Lieza. So this is the second book in the Bergen Brothers companion series. I have already read the first book in the series. I read it a very long time ago though, and I remember at the time that I had read that one, I really did enjoy it, except once I had finished it, I wasn't necessarily like itching to go and read more from this author, so I kind of just like never continued on with the companion series. But then recently I did see a couple of people just chat about like a bunch of books in this series, and for some odd reason, the thing that they were saying made me really want to like, jump back into it. So that is exactly what I did. So I did get the second book in the companion series, and I'm currently 105 pages in, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it at the moment. So what is this one about actually? So what do I know about this book so far? We are following this girl who has, I think she's on the autism spectrum, and she also has, it's not cerebral palsy, that is the wrong word, but she does have this chronic illness. It's rheumatoid arthritis. I apologize if I said that wrong, but either way, you're basically following this girl who does have, like this chronic illness, and then she also is on the autism spectrum. And I'm honestly really enjoying seeing that point of view from like, a character. And then this main guy is a professional hockey player, and he has actually been pining after her for like 3+ years. Like ever since he had joined the team, she was already working there, and he has kind of been like secretly madly in love with her this entire time. And now they are finally starting to like hang out and get to know each other a little bit. And obviously she's going to slowly fall for him. And I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm sure that she's going to find out that he has been pining after her this entire time. So far, it's a really, really cute story. It's definitely feeling like a slow burn, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the books in this companion series is a slow burn because I remember the first one being a slow burn. But either way, that is what I know about this book so far, and I am enjoying it so far. So hopefully I will like it still by the time I get to the end of it. So that is that. And then happens to be on top of this, I did also very randomly get the 5th book in the companion series. Why did I skip book 3 and book 4? Okay, so one of either book 3 or book 4 was a marriage and trouble sort of romance, which is something that I don't really enjoy reading about. So I remember skipping it because of that. And then there was one more. It was either book 3 or book 4 that I did want to read, but I didn't see it on sale. Like this one I had randomly got, like I paid full price for it, but I had gotten it because it was the 2nd book in the series. I'm like, let's go in order. And then the 5th book I was able to find on Target. So it was part of the buy something, get something free, the buy 2 get 1 free sort of thing. So that is why I randomly picked this one up. But if this one wasn't on sale, I would have gotten either the 3rd or the 4th, whichever one it was. But I didn't get that one yet. I'm going to get that one after I read book 5 and finish book 2. But either way, this one I believe is a male-male romance. I think that both of these guys are on the soccer team and they possibly don't get along, but somehow they're gonna end up in a romance. Don't know too much about this one, but I actually did recently see a review for this one, and that is why I had put it onto like my wish list. And then when I saw it on Target, I'm like, let me just get it while it's on sale. I don't care if I skip around a little bit. So that is exactly what I did. And then from Target, I did also get this book called Rush by Aurora Rose Reynolds. So this is a funny story. This is a book that was recommended to me when I went to Book Bonanza at the beginning of the summer. I forgot who had given me this recommendation, but they're like, oh, it's really good. Like the entire companion series, this author in general, they did warn me that the 2nd book is better than the 1st book, but they recommended that I start with book 1 because it's good enough and then it will make the rest of the series better. So I'm like, you know what? Sure, I'll listen to what you say. I saw this one on sale and I decided to just go for it. And the thing is that I'm pretty sure I paid like $5 for this book. And I'm like, how the hell is a book so cheap? And then you know why it's so cheap? It's because it's so freaking small. This book, I didn't even check yet, but it is just under 200 pages. Is that true? Nope, it's just over 200 pages. It looks like it is like 210 or 211, 212, 13. It is 213 pages long. So that is kind of closer to novella size, but you know what? I'm not opposed to novellas, even though I do try to stay away from them. But either way, I did get this book, not realizing how small it was. I got it recommended to me, so hopefully it will be good. But either way, this is the other book that I gotten from the Target sale. And then the last one that I got from the Target sale, because I gotten 3 books from Target because it was buy 2, get 1 free, was Flirt by Adriana Locke. So this book, I remember when this had come out a while ago. It was kind of right when I started reading Adriana Locke's book, and I remember seeing such good things about this one. And then for some reason, I read a bunch of other books from her, and I just never got around to this one. And then I recently was scrolling through Target, saw this one, and I'm like, you know what? Why don't I give it a shot? So happens to be, I know absolutely nothing about it, but you know what? I actually don't really want to look because I've been really enjoying the idea of going into books blind because it's been making me enjoy books a little bit more than just like kind of knowing what I'm getting myself into and seeing a couple of reviews and then kind of going into it with expectations. So I've been enjoying the idea of going into books blind, and that is what I'm going to do for this book. But either way, I do remember a long time ago when this book came out that I saw very good things about it, and that is why I decided to buy it now. And hopefully I will enjoy it whenever I get around to reading it. Next up, I got this book called The Guy in the Right by Kate Stewart. So I am a fan of Kate Stewart. I have read her Ravenhood series and I have read Drive, and I really loved both of those books. And I know that she has like a ton of books out, but I don't really know much about her backlist. And then randomly, I saw someone talk about this in a video, and then I actually went to GOODREADS and I had looked at like, a bunch of reviews for it, and I've seen that a lot of people that I'm actually like friendly with on GOODREADS and Instagram and everything like that has read this book and really did enjoy it. So even though it's a book that I don't ever really see around, besides for that one video that I'd seen on YouTube, I decided to just go for it because I have been a fan of Kate Stewart's work in general. So again, I know absolutely nothing about this except for the fact that it's about this guy that is literally on the right. So that is all I'm going to tell you about it because like I said, I want to not know anything about these books. I kind of just want to enjoy them for what they are and, figure it out for myself once I start reading them. So this is another book that I did recently add to my library. Next up, I have a book that I had gotten recommended from a lot of people on TikTok. I've just seen it like all over my feed recently. I believe it's because it's in a release, but either way, everything that I saw kind of made me really want to check it out. So that book is Mine for Yours by Harla Ray. So I've never read anything by this author. I think this is either her debut novel or it's just like a new release from her. Have no idea, didn't do that much research, but either way, I'm excited to check this one out, especially because if I like it, then obviously I have a new author to go and deep dive and check out and everything like that. But either way, all I know about this book is that I'm almost positive it is about two single parents. I think that he has a boy and she has has a girl, and I think the children are more or less the same age. And I believe they kind of meet at her brother's funeral, because I think that her brother had died and he was best friends with the brother. And I think that they were both left the bar that the brother used to own that was like his pride and joy of sorts. So I think now they're going to run it for him to like keep his memory alive of sorts. And obviously they're going to end up falling in love. So don't take it on my word for any of that, because obviously I can't be wrong, but I did read the back of the book, and that is the, the information that I got off of it. So, that's at least something. I also got this book called A Risk on Forever by N.S. Perkins. So this is another one of those books that I ended up not paying a lot of money for. I believe it was like either like $10 or $11. And I was really surprised that it was so cheap, because I remember seeing a review for it on Instagram, or a reel for it or something like that. And I don't remember it like looking so thin. I thought it was going to be like a solid 300 to 400 page book. And then it arrived in the mail and it was like very, very thin. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's why it was cheap. And I didn't even look at it yet, but let's see. It is just under 300 pages. It looks like it's like 287 pages, which honestly, that is like on the short side of a regular book. So we're not going to consider this a novella, but either way, I just wasn't expecting it to be this small. But my point is that I recently got this book because I had seen a review for it on Instagram. Well, not a review, I had seen a reel for it, and whatever the reel was, I can't even remember now, but it just made me really want to check this book out. So I ended up doing some research into it, and what I believe it is actually about is about this guy whose mother has ALS, and he's going to end up falling in love with the caretaker that just got hired to take care of her. And I have heard that this is a book that kind of like makes you cry or something like that. I don't know, don't take my word for that, but I do think that it does get very serious at times, and that would make sense based off of like, the only information that I know about it. But either way, I'm kind of excited to read it. I am going to hold off on it until I'm in the mood for a more serious book, in case it does end up being that way. But either way, I'm very excited to add this one to my library. So I'm not sure if I'm going to end up regretting this next purchase, but I did also get Letters to Molly by Devney Perry. So the thing is that this is a second chance romance, and it's also a second chance romance between two people who are divorced because the woman had cheated on her husband. And the thing is that I kind of want to give it a shot anyway, because I've heard such freaking good things, even though I hate reading about cheating and I hate reading about second chance romances. The thing is that I'm pretty sure that my favorite book by Devney Perry is The Birthday List, which is the book that had come right before this. And you get to see a lot about these characters in the first book that I had read that I absolutely loved. And reading so much about those characters kind of made me really want to read about their story specifically, even though I know that their story in general is not something that I really like to read. So this is kind of a book that I got to kind of get out of my comfort zone of the tropes and the scenarios that I know I don't usually like reading about, because I have heard that if you're ever going to give an exception towards those ideas of like, if you don't like reading about cheating and you don't like second chance romances, this one still might be a really, really good time because of the way that it's written, the way that it all plays out and everything like that. So it's like, I've talked to a couple of people. They're like, you know what? You still might want to try it. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will give it a shot. And somehow it ended up in my library. Next up, I have Arrogant Devil by R.S. Gray. So this is an author that I was very into a while ago. I remember reading like a bunch of her books all back to back because I was just like really enjoying them. They're all like very quick, easy rom-coms of sorts, except I do remember that once I started reading too many of them, I started enjoying them less and less because they all kind of have a very, very similar vibe. So I kind of had to like cut myself off and give myself a break. And I feel like my break has been long enough. And I was kind of really down to just like try out another like very easy, quick rom-com of sorts. So I decided to go with this one. So don't know too much about it other than the fact that I believe that this girl is going to become this guy's personal assistant. He's like a grumpy asshole of sorts. Like it says at the bottom of like, the synopsis that it's like, our button pushing banter should get under my skin. His arrogance and grumpiness should be a major turnoff. Problem is, even devils offer their own form of temptation. Maybe it's just the Texas heat talking because it does take place in Texas. But I can't help but wonder if giving into my desires and wrestling him out of those wranglers might just be the salvation I was looking for all along. So don't know much other than that, but either way, I am excited to give it a shot. And the last book that I have to share with you before today's video is Hidden Waters by Catherine Cowell. So I believe that this is the third book in her Tattered and Torn companion series. And I have already read the first book in this series, and I believe the fifth book in this series. I kind of just like jump around and like read Catherine Cowell's books extremely randomly because they're all just like small town romance suspense books. So therefore I just like pick and choose the story that is specifically calling out to me. But either way, this is the next one that I decided I wanted to try. So I believe that this is about the girl that we actually had originally met in the first book in the series. And she was kind of like living with her family, who's kind of more or less like part of a cult of sorts. I don't really like remember the details of it, but I just remember that like she was kind of like living off the grid, and like they kind of live like on the outskirts of this small town. And I believe either in that book or at just the beginning of this book, she's kind of gonna like decide to leave her family because she wants to live a normal life. And now that she kind of has this freedom, she's not really sure what to do with it. So she ends up getting this roommate, and they're gonna end up becoming friends. He's kind of gonna introduce her on like how to live a regular life of sorts, and then obviously they're slowly gonna fall for each other. So I could be wrong about that synopsis, but I did read the back of the book, and I do remember a lot of like this girl from book one. So I like putting all that information together. I'm pretty sure that's what this book is about. So either way, I'm very excited to read this book. The next time that I'm in the mood of a romantic suspense story, this is the one that I'm definitely going to be picking up. So either way, with that said, that is all the books that I wanted to share with you for my early Black Friday book haul. So I'm curious if you're planning to get any books on Black Friday. I'd love to know what is sitting in your cart waiting for those sales to start. So leave me a comment down below. And also, if you've read any of the books that I have just talked about in today's video, or if you're planning to get any of them, I'd love to hear about that too, what your thoughts were on them or anything like that. So again, leave me a comment, and I'm gonna say goodbye. So if you did enjoy watching this video, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you are not currently subscribed, and also just thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video, because I really do appreciate it. And until next time, enjoy reading.